The Sportster is back. We gotta talk about it. Let's go. Right, the return of the Sportster is a topic that I've been wanting to talk about for some time now, and when that news came out, I didn't have a camera or hadn't been posting any videos yet, so I'm a little behind the eight ball, but I'm here now. So, as somebody who has a Sportster and is pretty new to motorcycling, pretty new to Harley Davidson, I think, I might have some interesting perspectives on the return of the Sportster, and I also think that I'm the kind of person that motorcycle will be very heavily marketed towards, so hopefully my thoughts and insights are interesting. And just aside from that, I really like thinking and talking about the product strategy side of businesses, particularly in the motorsport and motorcycle industry. So it's just interesting and fun for me to talk about, and I hope I hear your comments below and kind of see what you're thinking, if you align with what I think or if you don't. Again, I just really like talking about this kind of thing, so I'm interested to see what others have to say. Anyways, let's talk about the return of the Sportster and all the positives. I think the positives are pretty simple, right, and pretty easy to think of, and overall I think the common consensus is obviously good that it's coming back. Nobody's really out here saying negative things about the return of the Sportster. But the positives are, of course, that an affordable bike is coming back to Harley's lineup, something that is considered of the working man and somebody maybe who's newer to motorcycling, newer to Harley Davidson's, just trying to get into it, just trying to get into the brand, a price point bike, something a little bit smaller and more inviting to newer or less experienced, or maybe even just smaller framed riders or people who don't want a 900-pound bagger. So all those things are really, really big positives for Harley and big pluses for the return of the Sportster, obviously. I listened to a podcast today, too, that talked about door swings at Harley-Davidson dealers, and they use door swings as a way to measure foot traffic. And ever since the Sportster left, door swings have fallen significantly, which is an indication that there's less people in there buying motorcycles, buying t-shirts, getting their bike worked on, buying oil, whatever it is, jackets, helmets. So hopefully the return of the Sportster gets those door swings back up too, helps out the dealers, and keeps this thing rolling. Now I want to talk about maybe some of the potential downfalls or negatives of the Sportster returning. I'm going to look at it through the lens of Harley Davidson. And I'm going to compare the Sportster to the Nightster, which is the current Harley Davidson offering for kind of the more entry-level price point bike, something a little bit smaller. Now, the Sportster 883 may have a little bit more of the authentic, raw Harley Davidson look, sound, and feel with the air-cooled engine 883. However, the Nightster has gobs more performance and a sixth gear. I guess we don't know whether or not the new 883 will have 5 or 6 gears, but the Nightster does, and the old 883 never did. So I'm looking at it like this. How many people are going to walk into their Harley dealer and see the Sportster and the Nightster sitting next to each other on the showroom floor and go, man, maybe I want that authentic look, sound, and feel of a Harley Davidson, but am I okay with paying the same price for this 883 as I could pay for the Nightster, which has tons more performance and a sixth gear? I think for some people, maybe it won't matter. Maybe they won't care about the extra performance, right? You could make the argument that people don't buy Harleys for the highest level of performance anyways. But I think for some people, it's going to become a little bit of a tough pill to swallow. Am I okay with paying the same amount for this 883 Nightster with the air-cooled engine as I could be paying for the Nightster with tons more performance in the sixth gear? I don't know. I think of myself as somebody who probably would be more leaning towards the air-cooled, authentic Sportster feel, and that would intrigue me more. But even putting myself in that situation, that might be a little bit tough. And like I said, a tough pill to swallow. So I think it'll be interesting to see how the return of the Sportster impacts the Nightster. Also looking at it from Harley's perspective as a business, having 2 and soon 3 motorcycles that would all appeal to the same limited demographic of people, maybe not the best business case for them, right? As a consumer myself, I love it, right? I love the variety. But from a business standpoint, maybe not the best strategy for them. You could make an argument that there's too much variety that's being provided to a limited demographic of people. And again, when you've got 3 models, that means you're selling less of each one. You take less advantage of economies of scale. Your profit per bike is less. Again, from the standpoint of Harley Davidson, from their viewpoint, maybe not the best case scenario. So I think there has to be some sort of systemic change with the Nightster moving forward to differentiate it a little bit more and make it appealing to maybe a little bit different grouping of people. This is also kind of why I wish they were also coming out with a little bit larger displacement Sportster. Something, 1,200, 13, 1,400, something a little bit bigger. Something that would be a little bit closer in performance to the Nightster, bridge a little bit of a gap there, and I think that would be a little bit more appealing to somebody looking at it sitting next to the Nightster if there was a little bit less of a performance gap between the two. Now, speaking of the new motor, I want to, caution people. I've been seeing a lot of people saying, hey, the 883 Evo is coming back, the Evo is coming back, 883 Evo. Now, through the research I've done, the videos I've watched, the articles I've read, I don't think I've seen it clearly stated by Harley that it's going to be on the Evo platform. It could be something completely new, a completely new motor. And my thought is, if I'm Harley Davidson, I'm probably bringing out a completely new motor. Now, why would I do that? Well, when the Sportster left for the first time, they told us one of the main reasons why is because the Evo was binding up against emission standards regularly. They make changes, regulations get more strict, and then it becomes a problem again. And it's just kind of this cycle of always binding up against emission standards. Now, since the Sportster has left, emission standards have only gotten more strict. So I'm kind of in the camp that if that was truly a reason why it left the first time, nothing will have changed. And if I'm Harley, I'm not going to bring back a motor that's going to have the same problem as the first time it left, something that's always going to have issues with emissions, right, that are getting more and more strict by the day. So I'm looking at it as I need something for the future. I need a motor that is on a platform that I can use for the next 50 years or the next 10 years, something long-term that's not going to continue to have these emission standard issues that it did when it left the first time. I think they're going to view it as an opportunity to bring out something new. And honestly, I think a brand new motor in the 883, I think that would sustain excitement longer than the return of the Evo. I think people would be excited about the fact that it's new, and that would keep the hype around it longer. So, I don't know. Could be a brand new motor, could have 6 gears, who knows? We don't know, obviously, all the granular level detail yet, but my thoughts are it makes sense for Harley to bring it out on a new motor. Anyways, all these negatives that I've brought up, they're really just food for thought. To me, it's just fun to think about. Obviously, as a rider and a consumer, I'm super, super excited about it. This is what we've been asking for. More price point bikes, more variety. Ever since the Sportster left, we've been yelling to bring back the Sportster. This is what the new management is doing under the Back to Bricks program. They're getting back to where they were, getting riders excited about the brand again, getting new people on the brand. This is what we've been asking for. The riders should run Harley Davidson, not the suits, and I think we're going the right direction. I think this is just one small step and a good indication of what's to come under the new management at Harley. So big thumbs up there.